Welcome to data engineering. In this course, we will learn what data engineering is. We will also understand how it works and why companies need it. In a step-by-step manner, we will see tools, technologies, and simple examples. And here are the main topics for this course. First, we will understand what is data engineering. Then, we will learn how pipelines work to move and clean data. We will also learn different architectures like Lambda and Lakehouse. Then we will study important tools like Spark, Kafka, and SQL. Next, we will understand how we process and query the data. Finally, we will see how cloud platforms like Azure, AWS, and GCP help data engineers. Finally, we will also discuss the career paths and the certifications at the end of this particular course. Understanding data engineering. Let us try to understand what is data engineering. Data engineering is the work of building the system to handle the data very efficiently. It primarily includes the four major tasks. First, design how the data will be collected, and then build the pipelines to move data safely, and then maintain the system so that it works faster and without errors, and then finally optimize the system to make it very cheaper and better. Data engineers mainly work on pipelines, storages, and security of the data. Let us take one more example, the railway ticket booking system. The millions of people book the tickets every day, where the data engineers help make sure the booking data is clean, stored properly, and reports are completely ready for the managers. What exactly the role of a data engineer in the modern data stack? In today's companies, a data engineer will do many important things. What exactly that they are into? They will build pipelines for large amounts of data. I mean to say, let us say the batch and real-time data, which is nothing but the live. And also they create ETL or ELT systems to clean and arrange the data. What do you mean by ETL? Extract, transform, and load. What do you mean by ELT? Extract, load, and transform. And also they will check if the data is correct and complete. Also, they store the data very safely using the cloud platforms like Azure and AWS. They frequently work with the data scientists, generally who build the models, and also the data analysts who generally make the reports. So a data engineer is like a person who builds and maintains all the systems, whichever that they are required the clean data in a clear cut manner. For example, if you are watching the YouTube videos, the fact that you are watching whatever the watch history, likes, recommendations, everything, they ensures they work well. How to become a good data engineer? You need some of the important skills in order to become a good data engineer. Number one, SQL. SQL is the primary language that you require to talk to the databases and also to get the data. Number two is Python, where the data engineer is expected to write the programs which will help them to move and clean the data. Next one is Spark. They will use the Spark in order to process very big data and faster way, and particularly in a more distributed manner. What about Kafka? Kafka is the one which is used to handle the real-time data streaming. And next one, let's go with JIT, which is used to save and manage the code properly. And the last one is Airflow, which is used to schedule and automate all the workflows, data workflows, which are written in terms of the Python jobs. Coming to the job titles, when you search for a job in data engineering, you may find different titles. All of them mean almost the same type of work with a small differences. Here are some examples that you can consider. The most common item that you could see is data engineer, and if not, big data engineer, who primarily works with a very large data. So more or less like the same. And data platform engineer, who focuses more on the infrastructure. ETL developer, who primarily focus on moving and cleaning the data, maybe with the help of the ETL tool or maybe with the help of the Python code or some other programming. So even though the names are quite different, the skills, whatever that they need, all are almost same. We do have a one confusion every time. What is the difference between the data engineer and data scientist and data analyst. It is pretty much important to understand the difference, like who is a data engineer, who builds the data pipelines, and who will store the data properly, and who is the data scientist, who uses the data to build the machine learning models particularly, and who is the data analyst, the person who looks at the data and prepares the reports and the visualizations and the charts, something like that. So if a data engineer collects the any kind of a data, then data scientist will predict how exactly the futuristic data would become, and a data analyst will make the visualizations of the respective data. So all these three people work together, but will have the different responsibilities individually. So what are the core responsibilities of a data engineer? A data engineer's daily work always involves with bringing the data from different tables, bringing the data from different databases or different sources into one single system. This is where we call it as a data ingestion. And also cleaning the data and arranging the data properly, which is considered to be called as a data transformation. And saving the data very safely in the cloud storages or cloud databases, and making sure the data is completely clean and updated daily. And they will monitor if the pipelines are working or failing. In short, more or less, a data engineer is like the person who manages the traffic of the data, no accidents and no wrong turns. Let us take a real world example in respective with the data engineering in action. Let's take a simple real world example like a e-commerce company like Amazon. Customers place millions of orders daily, whereas the data engineers use the Kafka to capture the live order data, and also they can use the Azure Data Factory in order to move the large data into a warehouse. And finally, they will store it safely in the Azure Synapse or a Snowflake, or maybe like AWS Redshift. So finally, the business teams use the Power BI to see daily sales dashboards, because the good data engineering system, the company can make faster decisions. Finally, what could be the result? The better operations and the faster reporting. Let's try to understand the essential qualities of a great data engineer. If you wanted to become a strong data engineer, these qualities are pretty much important. Number one, problem solving mindset. You have to always think how to fix or improve. And number two, the strong coding. You must be understand or aware of what is at least one programming language. That might be, as an example, Python, and then one data query language like a SQL, and some of the small automation scripts. Next, the data modeling, how a data should be arranged and stored, whether it might be in the database, whether it might be in the data warehouse, whether it might be in the object storage. Likewise, next one is a distributed systems. We have to understand how big the systems work. Okay, anyhow, that we will just learn this one. And the final fifth one is the teamwork. You require to communicate with the data scientists, and you require to communicate with your other colleagues, like who are working for the teams, like a data analyst and also the other managers. So along with these technical skills, your attitude and also the teamwork is very, very important. This is the end of this topic. Thank you.